Let's see. Hello, everybody. Looks like we have a few people in here already. We're just going to give maybe 1 or 2 more minutes to let some other people trickle in. But I hope everyone's having a great Wednesday and getting ready. We are already in November. Who else is terrified? It's holiday season. um, All right, well, we are going to go ahead and get started here. So hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Chapman. I am the Director of Training and Education here at Club Caddie. So today we are going to review some of our winter shutdown best practices. And being a California girl, I honestly have no idea what that's like. So we have some experts here with us today that are much more versed in this. We have Travis Young, who is our customer success. He focuses on our enterprise division, but was formerly on our implementation team. So if he looks familiar to you, he may have helped set up your course. And then, of course, we have Michael Rollins, our VP of product. So all those new features you see rolling out, that's from him over there. So just a few reminders is that we do have the options for some Q&A questions. So as we're talking, if you have some questions you want to ask, you can go ahead and utilize that tool, ask the questions, and we will do our best to answer them. If we don't get to them, we will reserve some time at the end to answer those as well. Lastly, we did provide a checklist, if you will, that will also go over the topics that we are discussing, and it even links the knowledge-based articles that can help walk you through some of this as well. So you'll see that in that webinar page and then in a follow-up email. So I will go ahead now and pass it off to Mr. Travis Young here, who is from what we would call like the North Pole. He's from the North Pole.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Kind of as Nicole mentioned, located up here in Canada on the East Coast. Been a PGA guy for a long time, formerly with the implementation team, currently with the customer success team. Anyone's curious, yes, I did watch the World Series. Will not be taking any baseball related questions. I don't think Canadians are ready to talk about that yet, so we'll just go gentle on that subject. Nicole's from LA, for anyone that doesn't know that. So it was in LA, Canada, there was a few chirps fired back and forth. So, yeah, I think, to get things started here at Club Caddie, we've been the person behind the desk and, we've had to prepare for some of these. So that's really our goal. I'm just going to refresh your to-do list for the fall season. So a few things that I'm going to cover, reports, inventory, memberships. I'm going to go over events, touch on T-sheet, and then some best practices. So with that being said, we will get things started. All right, so from here, we're going to start from the register and we're going to lean over to the right-hand side and start with reports. So right out of the gate, left-hand side is alphabetical. So we're going to start with the rounds breakdown report. So this is a great one to, again, some of these are going to kind of paint a picture for your property. From here, you can sort by the different resources, if you will, kind of where the rounds are coming from. So always a good one to keep an eye on, to take a look at even throughout the season. We're not going to go too deep into the reports. I just kind of want to touch base and kind of give you guys some guidance there. Staying with the rounds breakdown, rounds played, right below that, you can see the rounds played report. Here you can break this down, see kind of who's played at your property, how many times they played. So a lot of courses, you think dollars per round, especially on the membership side. So if this is something that is of interest, you've got a lot of visibility here. And then probably one of our favorite reports is going to be our sales by department. So this is going to be a high level overview of everything that happens at the property. There's a lot here. So there's a bunch of filters I would encourage you to take a look at so you can kind of break this down. Rounds played is going to be at the top, green fees, the different types of green fees that have been sold, things like that, broken down by 9 and 18 holes. And it's that time of year for a lot of the northern courses that your buying season's coming up, right? You got to place some orders, get everything set. Nothing's better than springtime when you've got 100 boxes show up from the FedEx guy, right? So let's kind of get an action plan in place. You want to see your golf shop items. I encourage you to come through here. You can break this down by soft goods, hard goods, whatever you need, start to get a plan in place for those. So Um, Last one I kind of want to highlight on the reporting side is the on-hand report. It's always good to see, like, this is another report to see your total inventory kind of at a glance. So if we want to look at golf shop inventory, right, again, with your buying plan in mind, right, we've got to place a large order and spend a bunch of money for the spring. You can use this as kind of a reference, if you will. So, um,
Really quick, Travis, I wanted to mention for the rounds breakdown report. If you do head to our knowledge base, we just created an article with multiple ways to capture this information because we know different facilities may do it a little bit differently. So you can always head there and also get a little bit more thorough, and that will be linked in that information as well. So for those end of year reporting numbers, just wanted to throw that in there.
yeah, love that, Nicole. Thank you. Um, so kind of continuing with the inventory trend, we're going to jump up to settings and we are going to transition to the left-hand side and start talking about our inventory on a whole. Um, you know, I've I've seen the offices. I've had my offices looked like it too, where, you've got 12 FootJoy gloves that need to go back under warranty. You've got some Echo shoes, some Adidas shoes. It's time to get those things out of your office and, send them back. In the very same breath, a lot of the basically the companies that there have, different programs where, FootJoy, you can return 50% of your shoes. Callaway, you can send back a bunch of inventory. So if that's not on your radar, or if that applies for your property, then we're going to also want to be aware of like our inventory audit to make sure our end of year numbers are good for the accounting side. So I'm not going to go through this in depth by any means, but if you want to create a new inventory audit, start up here, new inventory count. I'm sure this is something you guys do pretty regularly, but the end of year one is always kind of a big one to make sure you have the best numbers for the accounting team. Um, and then obviously you can adjust here as needed, right? So if you're sending back, 6 Scotties and you're going to keep 6 for next year, you can fire through here, keep all this as accurate as possible, especially going into the off season. So, so from there, I want to talk about something a little bit different. Now we'll transition to kind of some membership conversations, right? This is typically the time of year where, my GM was always kind of made me well aware of accounts receivable, right? Talking about members that owe you money, things like that. We want to get the ARs down as much as possible. So kind of touch base, the last note when it comes to reporting is going to be what we call the aging report, right? So this is a high level overview of everyone that owes money at the property. So ideally the goal is to get to the lowest possible. Michael, looking at this, we got 188K here that cash or check. We're going to want to clean this up, right? And this is again just best practices. Try to keep these as low as you can. We all know during the off season too, people might join another property next year. They might move away. So I mean, we kind of have a window here. We want to target these, and just be aware of any membership charging that's happened over time. A couple other viewpoints for the same talking point. Again, members that owe you money, customers, your membership list. You can come in here, glance at your payment management. This will kind of give you an idea what's happened recently, right? So last invoice amount, last paid amount, who's paying you money. Maybe you have a large balance and someone's, made arrangements to work away at this. Really good reference, right? It's, I feel like Club Caddie, one of the things that we do really well is, there's a lot of visibility there, right? So you can use this. And also on the right-hand side, you have an action dot. Maybe you have to resend an invoice or someone didn't receive it. You can just click email and this will go to the email on file for that profile. From here, you can also download this list if you need to. Being in the golf shop, people are still walking in the door, right? So obviously you can't just have this page up all day. You can click on download in the bottom right hand corner, print this out, and then you can kind of work your way through it and address the accounts receivable as you have time to do so.
Yep. And then Travis, just one other thing. I know we did have a question. If you go to membership billing report,
The member billing report.
yeah, the member billing report. We do have an expanded view of this report that will show you all of your members with their bill till dates, their expiration dates, the amount that they owe, along with their last invoice date. So we don't have to download it right now, but this expanded view report is something that we've come out with within the last, I would say, 2 years. So it's definitely something that a lot of our clients should be using. It's a little bit hard to find because you do have to go to the bottom right of a specific report to get it. But that's probably one of the best membership tools, especially as we talk about winding down for the year, making sure that your books are up to date and everybody's paid up for their memberships. The expanded view report of the membership billing is probably one of the tools that you would like to utilize as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Michael. Thanks for the shout out there. Sticking with memberships, I think one thing to be aware of at your property is how some of your memberships are set up. It's probably something you haven't thought about recently, but essentially, just to kind of confirm, when I look at this particular profile, under member info, this membership is set up to expire. So November 30th, everything's shut down for the year. My membership is basically done. I can join the club next year. Love to be back. And then on the other side, if you have a membership that looks like this particular one, you'll notice that there are no expiration dates. So what this means for you guys as operators is on November 27th, I'm going to get rebilled for all of these, make sure they are as expected, right? Maybe bag storage is not going to be an option next year. I've decided to upgrade to an annual power cart, things like that. There's always little things to kind of maintain on the membership side. So just food for thought. Actually, we're going to jump back in here for a sec, a little audible. So talking about memberships, accounts receivable, things like that, one thing to be aware of is like bad debt, right? Maybe it's from the previous year, whatever it might be. There's a couple different ways that we can capture this. Write this off, if you will. One would be theoretically using the ledger. If you wanted to go that route, you could also use a custom payment method if that was something you wanted to consider. I'm not going to go through this super in depth, but we don't want to carry negative debt for a period of time. And if it makes sense for your property, come in here, get rid of it. Michael moved out of state. I'm not going to collect that 88 grand. I'm also looking for jobs, so I'll be on the PGA website. Little things like that, right? So there's a lot of tools in here to just keep things clean, if you will. So sticking with the membership theme, it's obviously the time of year that I hope your pro shops are empty. I hope everyone has nothing in it. I hope there's a glove in there that's size XXL and it's right-handed. So if not, let's talk about like some communication stuff and some awareness for your members, if you will. One tool that I love is the bulletin board. So under customers bulletin board. I started this one a little bit earlier today. I'm not quite ready to publish it because I'm not ready. But this one here, we're going to click on edit, and this is currently saved as a draft. So you know what time it is. It's the Bushwood end of season sale, right? Golf shirts half off, FJ Puma 40 off. Strixon did a promo this year, buy one, get one dozen. Michael, thanks for the free golf lessons in the spring. Appreciate your generosity there. So these are little things you can do within Club Caddie that, you don't have to log into WordPress. You don't have to go to your website. These are things that you can put in front of people by using the software that you guys use every day, right? You know what? I'm feeling better now. I've reviewed this. I'm confident. I'm going to transition this from draft and we're going to publish this. Okay. We hit save and little blue success box. We are good to go. All right, cool. Where did that go? Right. Favorite question. So I'm going to minimize this and we're going to take a look at my membership portal, right? Everyone should be very aware of your member portal. You guys do a lot of really cool stuff in here. So you know what? I'm curious, the big news. And of course we got logged out. It's so smooth. Let me pull this back up. Pro tip, if you leave your member portal open, it will automatically log you out over a period of time.
Safety first, Travis. Can't have anyone breaking into your account, right?
Yeah. That member account limit is it's pretty much a free for all. So they could run them up and fill them in.
Yeah, and then just one thing on while Travis is pulling up the bulletin board here. So this is the member portal that Travis is logged into, but we also have essentially the same login for just regular customers, people that aren't necessarily season pass holders or full-time members. So this same view here that Travis is looking at is available to just regular customers. Obviously, they wouldn't see things such as, you know, invoices and minimums and membership ID ledger, things like that. But in terms of like bulletin board and booking tea times and viewing your gift card balances, this is all available to regular customers where they can log in and have a single source to view everything rather than clicking on individual links from a website. So.
Yeah, Michael, thanks for that. And just to expand, you know, the bulletin board is not limited to, you know, you can have it on your website as well. So essentially, if I refresh this, let's see if it'll throw me a curveball too. So essentially you can put the bulletin board link directly in your website as well. So if you want to, you know, promote this, so we've got the Pro Shop sale, we got some holiday events coming up, and there's a prime rib night coming up in January. So if you're you know what you want to eat in January, sign up for that as well, right? So yeah, a lot of visibility here. Some really cool tools. And you know what? That honestly, that post took me a couple minutes. So again, tools at your disposal, help you guys clear the Pro Shop. And one thing I didn't mention for anyone that has the mobile app as well is another cool feature. You can actually do a push notification directly from your bulletin board post here. Let this pop back open. So you can promote this, send notification, and everyone that has your mobile app, it's going to ding. There's going to be a pop-up that says what's going on, right? I think, you know, over time, I feel like, you know, members, customers, they want information without asking questions, and that's a great way to do it, right? Put the information in front of them, get them in the shop, help clear that out, you know, boost those end of year numbers. So sticking with memberships, we're going to go back into settings, and I'm just going to kind of plant the seed here on this one, if you will. You know, it's that time of year where new memberships are often being presented or approved by the board or ownership, whatever it might be. Just keep that in your back pocket that we may have to start adding some membership classes here for kind of what's upcoming in 2026. Obviously, you got some old ones in here. Yeah, just think of the future, kind of what you want to do. And then also consider if you want to start selling these online, what that might look like. And just kind of plan for a membership drive if that's on your radar for the off season. So
for those of you, you know, we say memberships, but this is season passes or, you know, a variable of ways to say it. And I think it's just important that we really focus in on we're all about revenue, right? We're trying to help you make sure your revenue looks great at the end of the year and get as much as you can. And so pre-planning for what you're going to offer next year, and then you want to offer a special because they're going to do an early bird or things like that. This setting up of these class management is going to really help you do that, and staying ahead of it and knowing how to do it and making sure you understand all of it is super important. So we have a ton of articles, knowledge-based articles on that, and our support team as well. But just wanted to reiterate that.
yeah, of course. Thanks, Nicole. And you know, one of my favorite things to always do at the end of the year was block out your tee sheet, right? That, you know, that's your finish line. The end is near. You've made it. It's a long summer, especially up here, you know, in the north. It's it's full tilt for 6-7 months. You know, 187 days was our average up here. One way to block it, as most of you probably know, you can highlight, block slot, go no tee times whatsoever. You can cover your time frame here over a period of time, shut things down for the season. This is kind of option number one. You can cover this, and we're going to go closed. And then also from you know, another way you can block your tee sheet, again under settings, or zip over to our tee sheet settings, and we can also basically shut it down here as well, where no tee times will display whatsoever, just by identifying an end date here. It'll remove everything from your tee sheet. So
You know, this brings up a good point. Club Caddie has multiple ways to do things, and every facility runs a little differently. So, Travis, in your experience, do you find, you know, I feel like this particular section is likely underutilized, maybe because people don't know that they have the ability to really control these things. So if you go to add and things like that, you'll see all the capabilities you have. It's a great way to make it easy, but blocking the tee sheet works from the tee sheet as well. So either which way. And just wanted to say, there are, how do you say that, more than one way to skin a cat? Probably not appropriate, but there are multiple ways to do things in Club Caddie. So we really like to showcase all of them because some might be easier and some might be harder for others.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason I think I like to highlight both is because, one thing I've experienced in Canada is, if it's really nice, like November like 14th, and it's going to be like, I'm going to say 17 degrees, which I know is the wrong temperature. That's pretty warm for us. I'd be like, low 70s for my American friends. The golf course might open back up. Maybe there's like a fall scramble, a superintendent scramble. We call them snowball scrambles. Nicole, you ever played in one of those?
No,
Um,
thank you.
So if you might need access to your T sheet at a later date, I would probably just block it, and then you could easily, unblock that particular day. If you're, I'll say air quotes, one of the lucky ones, you get to shut it down and you know you're done for good. I would probably come in here and just, remove any available tee times for the rest of the season. So yeah, that's Nicole, kind of why we talk about the different options, because we know that not every property is the same, right? We get to know you guys pretty intimately, and you know we're here to help you guys kind of navigate the waters the best we can. So a few other kind of comments, more so best practices. It's that time of year, gift cards and credit books, if those are going to expire. I'm not going to demo this, but just encourage you to make sure those are all mapped to the right chart of account. If that's something that you guys are going to use, right? There's nothing, you could have 5, 10, $20,000 in, credit books is going to expire, and you don't really have a plan for where that's going to go, right? We'd love to see it all go to pro shop expenses, but we all know the F&B team and the golf ops team, or the maintenance team. We want to disperse the revenue as needed, so just something to keep in mind. And then one thing I've seen a lot lately in the last week is it's actually on the event side. Had some properties recently that they hosted an event late in the year, and the event's coming back, right? Love to have them. So what that means is they're coming in here and they're cloning the events. There's a bunch of events in here. So they're cloning the events, part one, but then the other thing they're doing as well is a lot of these events are leaving a deposit to confirm, right? So what that means is they're doing a ledger adjustment, and they're basically moving, a dollar value from one event to the event they're going to host in 2026. So something to keep in mind on that side. And Mike, I think you're going to touch on this a little bit more, but just something I've heard a couple times in the last week or so, wanted to share. And then just being a golf guy, a few things that I just want to share. Like if you're not using some of these things, like I would encourage you to spend some more time and get more familiar. Like the bulletin board we discussed is a really great tool. The member portal is probably one of my favorite things within Club Caddie. Iframe banners is another great one, a great communication tool that Michael can touch on here as well. We'll also foreshadow some new stuff that's coming. We have a new loyalty program that's going to be released. It's going to give you a lot more flexibility and control over what loyalty looks like for you guys, whether it's an award strategy, how many points they get for buying something, or a redemption strategy, how many points it takes to purchase that item, right? I saw it this morning. It's going to be awesome. And to foreshadow another one, we've got promo codes coming in the pipeline here as well. Black Friday's running around the corner. You are going to see some communication from us, how to use these tools, drive revenue, exceed your budgets, right? Help you guys when you're talking to your ownership and your the board. Help you guys negotiate your contract better, but by showing the results that you've driven throughout the year through all these little things, right? Those are the tools that we're trying to give you to really help you guys succeed. And then a couple closing thoughts. Email campaigns, if you're using email marketing, make sure those are all shut off as well. You don't want to send out you haven't visited the course in 30 days. Please come back and see us when there's 8 inches of snow on the ground and the course is closed. So keep that in mind. And then just general best practice. When I was in golf ops, I always wanted to connect with my account manager at the end of the year, see how we can use the software better, help you guys drive revenue. If you don't know who your account manager is, fire us a note. Let us know. We'll reach out. We'd love to talk to you. So just keep that in mind. And then kind of in closing, I hope you guys enjoy some time off. A little, if you get some time off, great. If not, I hope it's a slower pace. You guys deserve it. We appreciate what you guys do day in and day out. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, Travis. So, Travis, quick breakdown. So, we went over reports quickly, and that's because in reality, facilities do reporting, how they run their facilities. It's all very different. So, there is a lot to unpack there, and we're going to give you resources and tools and links to knowledge based articles to help you cipher through that information. I do always encourage, see if there's the export option. You can manipulate some of this data in Excel, and I know everyone's AI crazy, but just plug it in, tell AI to run the reports. And that will segue into Looper, which is our chat support system right now. But really in the reporting tends to be that end of year focus. We're trying to show the numbers, as Travis said. So before you panic and before it's due tomorrow, get in there, start to look and see and make sure that you can pull those numbers correctly and the things and items that you really need to capture data on. Doing it last minute is not good for anybody. So the more you can stay ahead of it, please do. And then, you talked about memberships being also your customer base and the communication that you can do to continue to build revenue is really important. And even when you're closed, you can still make lots of money if you just get creative in those plans. And then the T-sheet. Block the T-sheet. That's probably number one. Block your T-sheet. Make sure no one can book those times anywhere, anyhow. So really quick recap of that. And so Travis, are you showcasing anything else? You want to go on anything else?
I think that covered most of my talking points that I wanted to touch on.
All right.
We can transition to Michael. We'll have some time for some Q&A here at the end, but kind of to expand on what Nicole said, when it comes to reports, in my experience, a lot of courses, there's 4 or 5 reports to kind of turn into the bread and butter of your operation, and just lean on those, get comfortable with those. Like she said, just be aware of how those reports are going to work for you.
So thank you. So I get the easy tasks today as quick, friendly reminders. So a couple of what I'm going to go over is best practices for your internal team. The first place we're going to start is updating your seasonal staff or your staff that maybe you've let go or no longer have at your property. And you're going to want to make sure and clean up your course user information, because what you don't want is your staff to be able to access your system and mess around. Because I don't know about you, but there's been some disgruntled employees that have maybe messed around, and we want to make sure that doesn't happen. So to begin there, you're just going to head to your settings and you're going to go to your course user information. And from here, you can export this into an Excel document here. You can also do an export here and an upload. So depending on how you want to do this, there's a couple ways, but if you go into your action, you can always delete, you can manage additional roles, you can edit this person. One little feature I like to point out and really do advise if you're in this section is making sure that your user type, your access roles, but these unique pin identification pins. This is really helpful because you'll be able to know which employees are doing what. So if there was a tea time that wasn't supposed to go out or things like that, it helps identify and it lets the system identify who the user was that was doing the action. So by turning on these kind of what we call parameters to identify your employees when they're logging in or when they're creating tickets, is going to be really helpful later down the road if there's anything you need to double check on. Additionally, tab color. This is a really nice feature. So each person can have their own color, and it just makes it really easy to identify things. And as we continue to roll out new features, these color codes are going to be very helpful in your food and beverage side as well. So just kind of wanted to expand on that a little bit while we were in here. But best practice, take out all your old employees, clean up this list, and make sure they don't have access. The next place we're going to go is managing roles. So here at Club Caddie, we throw out a lot of new features. And sometimes what that means is that the role permissions that we need to toggle on need to be adjusted because they might be new and you may not know that they're there. So to go ahead and go into this, we're going to go to settings and then manage roles. And this is how you can very easily control the access that your various roles have. This is kind of a blanket way to do it instead of on a more individual basis. But managing roles is going to say, like, let's give a bartender, for example. A bartender isn't going to need a lot of access to everything, especially more back end. So here, if you want to enter the permissions for anybody that's a bartender, you can go ahead, open this up, and really take the time to go through all the various toggle options. Do they need event manager or global view? No, they would not, right? But Looper AI, this is definitely one that you want to turn on because this is our chat support widget. And that's a helpful tool as well for anybody so that they can ask questions. So taking the time, do they need to access settings? No, probably not. Reports, likely not. But this is just an example to make sure that globally you're making sure that each role that you're permissioning has the correct permissions, and you maybe unlock features that you didn't know were there. So go ahead and take a moment to go through that. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oh yeah, some big role permissions. Refunds, how much do you want to allow that? Do you need manager overrides? All of these things live within these settings and parameters, and they're worthwhile while you have some downtime to set yourself up for success for the next season. So if you think through the last year and say, maybe this could have been avoided by permissions, this would be the time to do that. Let's see, what else do we have here in manage roles? Terminal access. So this one's an important one as well. So not only do you have the edit permissions here, yes, you can edit the name, but terminal access is important. So each role should be given a certain terminal access, and that's where they are going to be able to charge and things like that. So if you're a bartender, you likely don't need the pro shop, but you probably need the restaurant. So you want to make sure that these terminal locations are set properly for those roles as well. So just make sure that you are doing this if you're adding new roles or if you're adding more POS stations or whatever it is. Just make sure that this is going along the lines of what departments, what roles need what access. So there's no confusion and probably less errors as well. So let's see, with that said, okay, going back into some of these additional permissions. Now, not only do we have terminal access, but now we have department. And this one's an important one because visually, when you're in the register, not everybody needs to see every department that you offer. If you're in the shop, yeah, definitely need to see all the shop stuff. But if you don't sell any food or beverage or in the shop, they don't need to see those departments, and it declutters their register as well. So make sure you're turning on these departments or turning off these departments based on how you guys are set up so that these roles are only seeing what they need to see and it's less busy on the screen for them. What's another fun one as we go through here? Club voucher type. This is an important one. You want to make sure that if these roles can sell vouchers, they're selling the right ones. You may not want your food and beverage to sell golf and vice versa. So just some things, again, based on how your facility is set up to go through and audit a little bit. And then, of course, you have some other things like settings and things like that. So just a little bit of time in here to clean up globally these roles to then be able to blanket so you don't have to do it by person. Next, let's see here. We have our terminal management. So we talked about how to control who gets access to what. But one other thing we likely just want to touch base on is our terminal management in general here. And this is also in the settings. And so maybe you built on a new part of your facility. Maybe you have changed something in the year or going to for the upcoming year. Here is where you can set up the various terminals. You can manage your locations here and add a new location. This is also where you're going to control some of your receipt settings. So I know some of you guys have experienced the CVS reports or receipts, right? They're a little long. We can help with that and save you some money on your receipt paper by coming in here, making sure these permissions are correct. Also, the tips options here, make sure that these are all accounted for. Again, if you're in the shop, likely not needing a tip line. So there is much more to the tipping options, and I would suggest visiting the knowledge base just to make sure you are aligned because there's a lot of permissions and parameters around how your facility tips. But this is just kind of that gentle reminder to update this information. And then here within each terminal, right, you have your different POS systems, and you can go ahead and edit these as you please as well. So you'll see you can change the name. It is really helpful to identify these terminals by really easy names to know what they mean. So you could name it like behind the counter shop, right? Or you could put it in banquet bar area. Just make it easy for yourself to identify them. And then here you have these additional permissions and settings. We again have knowledge base articles that will break down each of these and what they mean if you'd like to find out more, because we have also added quite a few new permissions in this area in the last year as well. Michael, what do you got for me?
Yeah, just wanted to add just a couple things here. And while we're talking about, the whole topic of this is the kind of the wind down checklist for the winter. One thing that we have done, that I've done personally, operating golf courses in the Midwest and Michigan, is, if we do get a nice day in the fall or early winter, like Travis was alluding to earlier, one of our staff would come in, I would come in, and I would be the only person working at the golf course the entire day, right? But maybe I wasn't running the operation out of the pro shop. I could be running it out of, the bar. I'm just running the entire operation out of the bar, so I can check people in for golf, and I could also, cook hot dogs and serve drinks and things like that. So if you do have a staff member, like if you do run your operation like that on those random nice days, the manage roles is a really, really important thing to make sure that you have correct in terms of terminal access, department permissions. If you have someone come, like your assistant pro is coming in on November 15th, a random nice day, and they're going to be the only one there working out of the bar, they need the access for the F&B terminals, for the food department, the drinks department, things like that. So it may not be the most glamorous thing to go over in terms of like course user info and manage roles and terminal management, but it is really important because, we want to optimize the revenue as long as we can, especially in the north. So yeah, just something to keep in mind.
Definitely a very valid point. And this may be something that you want to create a whole new role for your winter staff, and then just make sure that you assign that role to those designated people that may be that skeleton crew that you have as well. But very valid point. Again, California girl, no idea what this is like. 365 days of golf, pretty much. With that said, I do want to encourage all of you. There is a Q&A. So if you have questions as we're talking through this, we highly encourage you throw them in there. We will be answering them on the side as well. So as you're thinking through it. So with all that, that's all I am presenting today. And I am going to now pass this off to Michael. Oh, Michael, you're on mute. Gotcha.
Got it. All right. I'm going to push over screen share here. Can everybody see this?
Yes,
Perfect.
we can.
All right. So a lot of courses here are heading into the off season, but one trend that we've noticed a drastic increase in over the past few years is non-golf activity at facilities. So whether it be winter lessons, simulators, hitting bays, pickleball, really anything non-golf related that people can do at a facility over the winter months, that's really picked up over the last few years. So Club Caddie has an entire module dedicated to this. This would be our activities module. You can see here we have different lessons broken out by instructor. We have pickleball courts, swim lanes, clinics, really anything that you want to build out. You can do that here in the activities module. So this is just adding extra revenue in your, quote unquote off season. But in settings, activity center, we have our activity resource types. This is where you essentially build everything out, whether it be lessons, and then you can go to the individual resources. So that would be In terms of lessons, that would be the instructors who you're going to book with. And then you can build out, just like for golf, you can build out rack rates, you can build out class rates. You can have those rates be a certain duration. So if you have a 30-minute lesson, a 60-minute lesson, a playing lesson on a simulator, you can build all of those out at different price points with different availability, online availability, different booking windows, just like your rack and class rates for golf. And one thing that we do recommend, if you do go this route and you want to kind of promote your non-golf revenue centers, we do have, as we've touched on here today, the iframe banners. So this is a really cool tool, probably a little underutilized by a lot of our clients, but you can go in here and we'll just look at our Tee Times top banner, and we'll edit this, and we can see this says, please go to this link to book lessons, simulators, and pickleball courts. And so what would that look like when someone goes to your, they just check out your Tee Time page. You can see this goes right on here. So essentially, if you blocked off your tee sheet for the winter, no tee times would show, but they would still be able to click this link, and that will go right to lessons, pickleball, simulator, things like that, where they can log in and book directly from this link. So just a nice tool if you go that route, try and drive revenue for the facility in your off months. Let's see here. So the next thing that we're going to talk about, it's a little bit of a sneak peek, but we are going to be coming out within the next week with promo codes for gift card sales for Black Friday. Obviously, Black Friday is coming up later this month. We have had quite high demand for the ability to discount online gift card sales. So you'll be able to create a promo code that is tied to an existing discount. So if we go to register settings, we have our discount here. You can see we have our Black Friday 2025 discount here. This is a 20% discount. So if someone would like to purchase, let's say, $100 gift card online, they could enter in the promo code, and they would then get 20% off. So they would pay $80 for a $100 gift card. This is a great way to drive revenue over the off season, especially if you don't have anything going on with activities, with simulators, lessons, any indoor golf or other activities. Driving gift card sales is a great way to make some money while you're not technically open. Another way to maybe make some money in the off season is to clean up your events module. So if we go into, this is obviously our demo course here for Club Caddie, but you can see when we go to our golf outings that there is a lot of money in the outstanding column for events that have already happened. So hopefully no live clients, nobody on this call other than Travis, Nicole, and myself see anything like this in the outstanding column when they log in. But if you do, this is a sign that you need to do a couple things, really. One, you need to make sure that the people have paid. And then you need to make sure that you close out and recognize this revenue. We're getting towards the end of the year. We need to make sure that our books are matching. They're all good to go. Nobody likes an angry accountant, especially at the end of the year. So if we go into an event, let's just take a look at this big one here. We have $14,880 outstanding, and we've got no deposit. So this is a big red flag, right? So we need to contact this person, get them to pay the amount, and then we would then post that revenue and close the event. So if they've already made deposits, you need to post the revenue and close the event. It's pretty obvious for golf outings. It's a little bit more complicated for golf leagues, if anyone is using the golf league module, because obviously the leagues are repetitive over they play every week for consecutive months. So if you have a golf league that has an outstanding balance or even a liability, you need to go in here and see when they've been checked in. And maybe there's weeks where staff members forgot to check a golf league in. So that deposit was never moved to applied. So they would technically have a liability, which is not what we want. So just really going in, if you use the events module, cleaning everything up. You don't want anything outstanding, obviously. We want everything to move to applied so we can recognize that revenue. And we can also use the date filters here, the start date and the end date for the year 2025, just to make sure that we don't see anything from previous years or events that are scheduled to happen in the future. But yeah, this is a great way to become really good friends with your accountant by potentially recognizing a lot of money maybe later in the year and not having to deal with outstanding balances, especially after the new year. That's a major no-no. So, and then just kind of keeping along that same thread of accounting, as we get closer and closer to the new year, there could be some potential changes to tax rates, everybody's favorite subject. So if we go into settings, we have tax management here. This is where you'd be able to add new tax rates. You can also add tax groups if there's multiple taxes that would apply to a given item. But so this is where we create the tax type and the tax groups, and then after that's done, we would have to apply the tax type or the tax group to all of the applicable items. So it is a little bit of a cumbersome process, but something that we definitely do not want to miss, collecting tax revenue. We also have a tax management report that you can run for the entire year. You can see here for today, we can see all the different tax types. There's a lot in this system. But it shows if you don't have unidentified taxes, you don't want to see anything in there. But we have our state taxes, our sales taxes, county taxes. This is a great way. All the accountants love this report as well. So just one to be aware of. And then obviously we have our sales by department report if we want to get a little bit more granular with it. We can see all of our individual items for a given period of time, any discounts that have been applied. So sales by department is one of the most widely used reports. You can do this for an entire year. If you include sub-department and category, it's going to take a little bit of time just because of the amount of data that's included in this report. But it will load, it will give you all this report, all of the information. But if you just want a high-level overview, you can uncheck these boxes. And then this will give you just, again, that high level overview based on your departments. And then just one last thing here. If you are, we have our integration with QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online. So if you use that, you don't have to worry about, updating your accounting software, getting all the information in terms of your chart of accounts and all of that fun stuff in there from Club Caddie. But we do have our GL code report. We go up here. So you can also run this for any date range. You can group it by date, or you can group it by chart of accounts. Obviously, we want to make sure that the credits and debits match. If they don't match, there's a problem. And then we can also go in and add different journal entries through the QuickBooks integration setting. Just making sure that everything is up to date. If you're adding or changing chart of accounts, now is a good time to do it. When you have some downtime, you definitely don't want to be doing that during your busy season. So all just things to be aware of over the off season, because once we just got out of the busy season, so now's the time to do some of that housekeeping work. But yeah, I think that's all I got.
All right. Well, we have about 10 minutes. So if any other questions want to come in, I think we went over a lot in this webinar. We understand that, and it covers a lot of different department needs. So we will be sending communication out that will have a checklist, link those knowledge base articles. There'll be a blog, and we will give you this recording as well. And that way you can share it with any staff that this could also be helpful for. Going back to the reporting, one of the things is we added how many new reports this year. So it's also worthwhile to go through and make sure that you understand what those reports are. There are many new ones that are going to give you more granular information. You can export them, you can manipulate them in Excel, and that way pull and extract the data that you're looking for. And we are very data centric here at Club Caddie. It's very important that you collect it. And so some other best practices that I was going to throw in, being a membership director for many, many years, is this is also a good time to remind your customers to update their contact information. If you have season pass holders, things like that, this is a very good time to say, hey, time to update your contacts. Did you have kids? Did you, whatever, expand your family? Did you reduce your family? Let's remove those people. Things like that. So communicate while you have the ability. Additionally, payment types. This is a really good time to make sure that you have non-expiring payment forms and make sure that if you do have people in your system that have upcoming payments that are their card's going to expire, you want to capture that ahead of time. So we do have the ability to send out those reminders as well, right, Michael? And do a lot of that legwork for you. And if you don't know how to do that, you should definitely learn. And I honestly am like, oh, I don't know exactly how to do it, but we know we have the ability to send that out. So just make sure that you're doing all of these housekeeping items. We will provide you with more resources. Additionally, we are going to have an reopening webinar just like this as well. So be on the lookout for that in the early spring. And thank you so much. Oh, we do have 2 questions. Let me see here. So can gift cards that are purchased with a promo code be restricted to certain departments? I can see someone purchased $1,000 and use it to purchase their membership.
Yep. So we will get to that point where we have the department specific, including the membership payments. Right now, we just wanted to release the gift card discounts for Black Friday as we're coming up on the date. So there will be a lot of enhancements that come out in the near future, but as of right now, technically, yeah, they could use it to pay for a membership if they really wanted to. But yeah, we'll be sending out a lot of information about the promo codes and the voucher sales for discounting here in the next couple days, really. So be on the lookout for that. And again, there will be a lot of enhancements to that here in the near future.
Yeah, so Tony, to your comment, we will have a dedicated email campaign that is going to go over this and really show and explain how to use these. But just some high level is these are for online only right now, and these are percentage based. But as Michael explained, we are going to roll out and update this to be more robust down the road. But for this beginning process, we will have a lot of communication. It technically hasn't been released yet. So just be on the lookout, truly, yes, in the next few days for that very direct communication about how to apply this. And we will have lots of resources in that way as well. And in our knowledge base, there is an article in there already if you want to take a sneak peek and see how it's going to look. So that does exist as well, but you won't be able to do it quite yet. And that is it. If anyone else doesn't have any questions or concerns, again, the reporting side of things tends to be very difficult. And the rounds report is a very popular one, and we have broken down in our knowledge base the various ways that you can get these numbers for yourself. So go ahead and dive in there. If you don't know, on the bottom of your screen in Club Caddie, you have a chat feature, and that actually does have our looper tied to it, which will directly tell you how to do things within the software. But if you want to jump into the knowledge base itself, there's also a link to that as well within our software. So just be on the lookout for that bottom piece of your software screen. And then it looks like Bob here, gift cards for Black Friday. Can you send me info? Yes. So yes, you will get some communication on that as well. But we are just about at that time, a little 6 minutes early. But wanted to thank everybody. Oh, yes, Michael.
We did get another question
Oh.
on the Q&A. So Jim had asked, our season pass holders get a 10% discount on food. Does that apply automatically, or does the staff have to apply the discount in the register? That will apply automatically, Jim, if you set up a class discount in class management and settings. So this is, if you had 10 different season pass holder types, you could apply it to all of them. You can apply it to 5 of them. You could apply it to 1 of them. It doesn't matter. And then anytime that pass holder is assigned to a tab in the register and a food item is selected, they would get 10% off automatically. So yeah, that would be settings, class management, and then the action drop down for discounts is where
And
you would
that's
set
a
that up.
great segue to some of the things that you can offer for your next year, right? If you sign up during our winter months, you get 10% off your food and beverage. So all of these tools and functionalities to help you build revenue, especially in these slower times. So we hope that you guys use them, apply them, dig in a little bit deeper while you guys are a little bit more downtime to navigate this system, because we add features all the time and a lot of them get missed. So we have a change log page on our website that also lists them out. I'm of course close to this because I manage those things. So it's there for you. But to everyone else, huge thank you to Travis Young, who is the first time on our webinar here from the North Pole. And then Michael Rollins here, who is a fan favorite, of course. But huge thank you guys for all your expertise and knowledge. Everybody who attended, we know this is a lot of information to digest. We will provide you some extra tools, and good luck with your end of year. And we hope you guys had a successful one. And if we can be more help, let us know. I'm Nicole at clubcaddie.com. Any questions, concerns, gap in information or knowledge, send them my way and I will do my best to fill them. Everyone else, have a great holiday season. Have a great day. Bye,
Awesome.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.